Good evening, and welcome to the 2012 Republican primary presidential debate. Our two debaters this evening are California Governor Cheryl Johnson and Texas Governor Ruby Taylor Holden. Ladies, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Our first question. What are your views on parents checking online and invading personal privacy?
Well, I have seen women pass off pictures of when they were teens as how they look now when they're in their 40s. I have seen men try to pass off men's fashion magazine pictures as pictures of themselves. I have seen people claim to be rich, famous, lawyers, doctors, and the like, only to be found lying. I have seen people claim to be young when they are old, old when they are young, single when married, claim they are suicidal and going to kill themselves right now, and claim only you can help them if you just send them alone, etc. No child, no matter how old, has the judgment of life experience to filter through these misfortunate to come up to the truth of whom and what experience they are talking up to. But the internet is a lot more difficult to deal with. You have access to anything and talking to people who might not have the best intentions. There are cases every day of kids getting kidnapped by people they met online, which understandably freaks people out. You live in their houses under their guardianship and set rules. End of story.
Well, if the child leaves the computer on with the email or IM clearly visible and walks away from the computer, then they have no right to expect privacy for that communication. Monitoring a child's online communications is not so much of a matter of trusting the child as it is not trusting other predators out there that find online community a bonanza of the naive, gullible kids who think they know it all already and can totally trust the other person to be who they are. I would say 99.9% of people that I have talked to have been untruthful one way or another about who they are, and some more seriously than others. A parent who does not monitor a child's online use only to have the child abducted, hurt, or killed would be considered grossly negligent, horrible parents, and a passive participant in child abuse. Teenagers truly believe that they are invincible. They still need guidance from more rational, calm minds to help them survive until they themselves have matured enough to recognize what is prudent and what is wise and what is not. I love my kids. I trust them completely, and I trust no one else who comes in contact with them. It is my job to protect my children until they are old enough to protect themselves, and that doesn't end until they are 18.
Thank you, ladies. Next question. What are your views on trials?
Well, Charlotte, how about you go first?
Okay. Even though you play the lawyers, the jury is the real decision maker. It's the way people of America participate in our government, but sometimes it can result in a way that isn't fair. If someone hires a really good lawyer and they're guilty, the lawyer can convince the jury to pledge innocence. And if the jury does pledge innocent, sometimes it doesn't end very well.
I think that trials are helpful. What if you really didn't do it and they just killed you? This is a way to get justice. You have a chance to convince the jury that you didn't do it. But there is a downside to it. A murderer could kill again if he was convincing enough. That is why sometimes a certain lawyer or person in the jury or judge could be fatal. But I definitely think that it helps more than hurt. That's why I'm different. And so that's why I am running for the Republican office, just like Charlotte over here. But that is just what I think.
Governor Jones?
Yes,
Did you tell us your view on trials?
I did.
Okay, next question. What are your views on this government?
This is a great government, but it needs more. It needs someone to do great things for this country. The truth about the different levels of government doesn't help the needs of the citizens, but they are supposed to. The real reason why there is to keep the illusion together that the people of the United States have a choice in the elections of presidents and how everything is ran. The only way the levels help meet the needs of the level of state where the people vote for mayors to help with schools.
Well, my views on this government is It's fantastic. But it's not perfect, as is nothing. But I have a 2-point plan. First, I get you out of the $3 trillion debt we are in right now. And then second of all, I help make America safe for you and your children and many future generations to come. That is my views on this government.
Thank you, ladies. Next question. What are your views on the government's way of responding to what citizens want?
Well, I think the government tries really hard to reflect the citizens as best as they can. They take into consideration what people want, just like the political parties in the states express people's views. They help a voter decide who they are voting for, because if they believe in the party's views on problems, they will probably vote for someone in that party. Just like you should vote for a better world. No poverty, no third world countries, and no famine.
Well, I think that the government does try pretty hard, but I know when I wasn't running for president that I really wish that they never had given up the Panama Canal. We would not be in as much debt as we are in now. And so I know people wanted to be friends with Panama, but still, we built it, we spent all that money to what? Give it away? And now we're in debt with China, which is really not good, because I saw a video when I was really young, and it was about China taking over this world, and it was not pretty. We don't want that to happen. That's why you should vote for me. I will help you get your country back.
Thank you, ladies. Next question. There always seems to be a map to guide your decisions. What is yours?
A good government should be guided by its principles, as should I. What is a government without principles but a dictatorship? There's federalism, limited government, checks and balances, individual rights, separation of powers, popular sovereignty, republicanism. These are all things that affect the government in different ways, and these are all things that make our government great.
Governor Jones?
Yes.
Your response?
Okay. So, there always does seem to be a map that guides your decisions. And I think the government's map is kind of tricky for those who don't really understand it. Because if you don't understand it, it seems like a riddle, an unsolvable riddle. But for me, the government's map is just like a treasure map. If you just follow it, and then you'll end up right on the X where the treasure is. And I think we're still halfway about where the sea of monsters is that's trying to kill us. But as soon as we get through that sea, then we come towards the nice calming waters. And then we dig, we find oil, we become rich, and underneath that oil is the treasure.
Thank you, Governor. 2 more questions. What are your views on adoption?
Well, I think adoption is great. There are so many people that can't have kids that want them. If there is a situation where parents can't care for the child or don't think that they're capable, adoption is a great solution. Also, you make the rules when it comes to adoption, so you can choose to never be in the child's life or make it part of the agreement that the adopted parents send pictures every week or whatever. And you can even set up times to see your baby if you want. It's definitely a wonderful solution. I know that my mother, she was adopted, and she grew up in a wonderful household, and that it was a much better idea for her to be taken care of from the parents that she had now than the parents that she would have had. I am not dissing her parents. I am just clearly stating that that was the better idea for her.
Governor Holden?
Sometimes they simply realize after giving birth to their child that they couldn't possibly have what it takes to raise a child. They themselves are children, and yes, people in their 20s are considered young and inexperienced. Maybe they just realize that they have nothing of value at this time to give to a child, so they decide to give that child a better life and give it up for adoption. but there's always a good reason why a mom decides to give up her child. It's the hardest thing for a parent to do. And trust me, if you're adopted out there and you don't think that your real parents loved you, they did. There was a reason. So if you know who they are, talk to them. Figure out that reason. Work it out together.
Thank you, Governors. Last question. What are your views on the U.S. Constitution?
My views on the U.S. Constitution are that it is fantastic. It is the reason that we have guidelines. If people were just set on the streets, we would be wreaking havoc. We would have wars. There would be all these things. And we probably wouldn't even have half the people we would have, because they would all be dead. Because, I mean, if there's no law that you can't kill, why not? And so, with our laws that some people try to make that don't go with the U.S. Constitution, it's not really spick and dandy. Because there's rules for a reason, and they set our people straight.
Okay. I believe that the U.S. Constitution is an amazing piece of work, though it is somewhat vague, but that is perfectly fine, because it is the state constitution that goes more into detail on our rights and regulations. On the same matter, people should focus more on giving to the poor kids that are abused every day, and that is what I want to do. Every year, I will ask schools to donate just $5 to give to an organization to stop child abuse. And that is why you, the people, should accept me into your work-bound lives and let me help you lead us to victory.
Thank you, Governors. This concludes the 2012 Republican primary debate.
Thank you.